War Eagle Auburn family, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together and we talk about what's going on in the world of Auburn family news, everything, rumors, social media, anything out there. If it's breaking about the orange and blue, we're going to talk about it here, whether that be sports or something else related to Auburn. It's all included here on this show. On today's episode, we're going to be breaking down Auburn National Signing Day for 2021. It's a day that normally a lot of people are excited about. Be interested to hear what you think about National Signing Day and how did it go? What's your impressions of how the program stacks after today? I want to get into some of that, obviously talk about some of the players that Auburn signed today, and maybe look a little bit about what to expect going forward with this signing class. So as you're coming in, this is a live show. If you enjoy the content today, please do make sure you smash that like button on YouTube. And you can even share it out on social media as well. Speaking of social media, we're also broadcasting live on Twitter for those folks that want to join in over there. And I hope that you'll consider coming over to YouTube at some point as well, because that is the better option for you all. But you can retweet, like, all that good stuff there to invite people in to be part of the conversation. And being a live show, it is always best when we have lots of you here to hang out with and to talk about and hear what your impressions of. Unlike most shows that do something like this is more about you guys and less about what I have to say, even though I'm the one here in front of the microphone and stuff like that. So welcome. I already see a lot of familiar faces. We're going to get into the recruiting stuff here shortly, so just bear with me for just a second as we get through our normal pre-show stuff. You guys can't see it on social media, but here on YouTube, there's some ways that you can help support the content that we're doing here. You can listen to the podcast, for instance. I am putting the link into the comment window down below for those of you that might want to go check it out. There's a new episode of Inside the Jungle, the basketball game. I know it wasn't a fun one yesterday, but we broke it down anyway. You can check that out. And if you want to help support the content that we do here, the easiest way you can do that is by joining the E2C Network Booster Club over at patreon.com/E2C Network. The link is also there in the chat window if you want to sign up for as little as $1 a month. And you can help produce the content here and on our podcast network. And there were a couple other ways, PayPal and all that kind of stuff that you can do if you'd like to check some of that out as well. All right, there's already a ton of comments and questions coming in, so let's get through it and start saying hello to some people. Let me just say hello first. Stereotypical Auburn fan, Jack, Darius, War Production, Stan, Samuel, the elect something, Cooper Perry. A lot of new faces and familiar faces here, so I appreciate you all joining as we get in tonight. Let's see. If Tennessee frees Dylan, a lot of y'all are still on this Dylan kid. Frees Dylan, he will land some transfers, then this will be a pretty good job by Harsin to rebound this class. So based off that first statement, I'm hearing the impressions that a lot of Auburn, and I'm seeing it as well, I'm not just saying that based off of this, a lot of Auburn fans are not happy, and not happy is not the right word, left wanting with this recruiting class. And, there's some understanding circumstances surrounding that, but it still leaves you wanting a little bit. And I'm not saying that for me, but I am saying that for some people that I'm hearing some speculation about and things like that. So let me go through some more comments here. I said, heard that Cody Brown and Dylan Brooks have both said they are 100% on their way to Auburn if they are released. So it's always fun to talk about those rumors and things. I just don't put a lot of stock in them. They can say all they want. They can say it on social media, but until they sign on that dotted line, it really doesn't matter. We need to grab Bookie Hiles out of OU, transfer 5-star defensive back. So let me pause for a second here. If you watch Coach Harsin's press conference, he talked a lot about the signing day may be done, but they're not done in terms of this class. And that's not like a new statement. There's always someone that comes after the fact. It's not just because it's National Signing Day doesn't mean that you have to sign on this day. There's actually a period. It's just the day that everybody makes a big deal about it. Everybody wants to be on ESPN, put the hats on, make the signing. It's in the faxing and all that kind of stuff. It's just a big production. So that in and of itself is not like this grand statement that there's more to come. Well, there's usually always more to come. And it makes sense, right? I think it's 17 signees at this point. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. There's plenty of room for some transfers, for some late signees, and things like that could be coming down the line at some point. Harsin needs to look at his backyard some more. Well, it's hard to do that in less than 2 months. And really where your focus was putting a staff together, it's hard to go back to your backyard and start focusing over there a little bit more. Wait for that. Have a little patience. Wait for this for another year coming. Cody Brown would add a lot of depth at running back. I'm not actually aware of much about Cody Brown, but I'll have to go look that up. Got some ballers from Auburn High School and Opelika. Speaking of going in your backyard, yeah. So if you wanted to have the easiest time, just go to the high schools down the street from you and actually go get a couple of players from there. Smart moves. Obviously, want to make sure you're getting the right fits for Auburn, what they need, / are they going to be a good fit for the program? But makes sense. If you can get them out of there, they're in your backyard. You might as well take them. You think all the 5 stars Bama got is crazy? Just wait till you see our 3 stars. Well played, War Productions. I didn't bring yours up here. There it is. Well played, sir. I think you were intended to be funny there. But here's the thing. I think seriousness as well. If we saw Tommy Tuberville turn 3 stars into 6 stars. And how about that long snapper being ranked as a 6-star? I've never seen something more ridiculous in all my life. He may be good and one of the best that's ever done it. 6 stars, just pushing it though. Little tongue in cheek there, I think, by the part of the ranking system that did that. Let's go ahead and add Phoenix City to the mix. Yeah, why not? The trifecta: Phoenix, Opelika, and then you might as well throw at this point Columbus too. All of that together. All right, I know I'm way behind here, so let me keep moving forward here. Devin Barrett, the guy coming back at running back, any good? He looks skinny for a running back to me. He was always small and undersized, and I think that's kind of why he moved to defensive back. So I don't know if that's changed anything for him at this point. But you need some running back depth. Like everybody's been screaming, running back depth, running back depth, running back depth. So they need it. Let's see. War Eagle from Sanford. From Stan. Let's see. Looking at the court, Auburn sucks. Samuel, I think you need to rein down your not hate, but your expressions of frustration about the basketball team this year just a little bit. I understand the frustration, but let's mellow out a little bit. Cooper, what's up, man? Warrior, good to have you here. Lee's here. Let's see. I'm from Opelika, and I'm 12. And I hope I got an offer from Auburn in the future. Well, from what I know about you and if you were telling me the truth, your bloodlines, I would say you probably have an offer coming your way. Just go out there and do a good job. I just want to skip the baseball season, nothing to play for in basketball, and for a postseason ban. Let's not be like that, War Productions. There's plenty to play for. There's pride. There's season ruining for other players. I get it, folks. This has not been the most exciting last 2 days of Auburn, and we have a tendency to do this as a fan base. When things are going up, we have to, oh my gosh, it sucks. And I get it. Like basketball last night was not fun. Did you have to do a podcast trying to break down that game last night? No. Gray and myself had a tough time with that. But yeah, I get it. We want to move on to something that's maybe going to have a little bit more promise, but then how do you know that's going to actually follow through as well? So enjoy what you have right now in the moment. And I know that seems cliche, but enjoy what you have. Are we going to get to play in the SEC tournament? No, I don't think we're going to get to play in that. I think that's my understanding there. Eddie, good to see you. Listening live for the first time, but he listens a lot in the back end. So thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Dylan Brooks was the 15th ranked player in the entire class earlier this year. He's a 5-star talent for sure. I'd love to have him, but there's a lot of mitigating circumstances there, and they can say what they want, all that they're coming, but until they can get a waiver or whatever is the situation going on there, I'm not putting a lot of hope in that because my hopes are only going to be dashed. Imani says, I didn't expect a splash today, but I did expect them to add a couple more guys to develop them well. In hindsight, I think this will be a solid class. So Imani brings up a good point that I want us to think about on this, is that remember back to Bruce Pearl's first year and 2 years. And we remember the names like KT Harrell, the holdovers from the previous era, the Taj Shamsuddins, Simeon Bowers came. We remember those guys. We don't remember them except for that first magical run in the SEC tournament that they had, to the Final Four of the SEC tournament for the first time in forever for them. But they were the foundation layers, and this class could be a foundation layer. They may not end up being the world beaters. They may never see a championship, but they could lay a foundation that's going to be great forever. So I think there's a lot of hope to see in that, even though it's not such a big splash here. Let's see. I'm going to be honest here. You're often too quick to shut down rumors such as the Brooks situation and transfers and transfers like Bookie, Eco Leota, bit quick in my opinion for you to believe they won't come. Jack, I understand that. And I guess here's what I've learned is that I used to get my hopes up about those things, and I try not to get so focused on those. And when they actually do happen, it's better. And then when it doesn't happen, I'm not as devastated by it. So I hear you on that, and I do. I hope you don't think that I'm just trying to push them aside. But I just don't put a lot of stock in what recruits are saying online because they say a lot of things online. That's happened recently as well. Maybe is Gus different? Run back swings every play. Barrett could have been good. Interesting. Harsin's press conference today will prove to recruits he means business. I did like his press conference today. Did it? Quick poll of the room. Did everybody get the chance to watch that? Because I was very impressed with his press conference, the way he handled himself. And, I mean, the guy's not trying to lie to anybody. He's not going to sit here and say we had the most outstanding class in the nation. But I think he's pleased with what he was able to do in such a short amount of time. So I think that's what you have to kind of take away from all this. Let's see. Well, at least we have equestrian. Yes, and I don't know if you can see it back here. Well, back this way, Carl. I'm pointing to this social media, people, but as you can't see it on your screen, but there's an equestrian photo back there along with baseball and softball. These are old posters, but I need to change them out. But you got to have equestrian represented in the back here, right? Joe, what's going on? Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. The stereotypical Auburn fan says we'll probably end in the 25th ranked class range. And that's what we were talking a lot about in these streams leading up to it, right? We were talking about, I was hoping we would make some bigger splashes and maybe find a way to eke ourselves into the top top 15. It's going to take a long shot for that to happen at this point, but we are hoping to get there into the top 25. And it seems like we have a chance to do that, especially if we bring in a few more players. Felix, good to see you, my man. War Eagle. Flashbacks to please don't flashback to Reuben Foster. My goodness. That was terrible. And I think honestly, so let me go back to Jack's comment about me dismissing things. And I have been burned and gotten my hopes up so much about recruiting over the years that I've learned to just, kind of put it in its proper place. That I think Reuben Foster is what did it in for me. I mean, you got a guy, 5-star, Bama's like crown jewel of the recruiting class, flips to Auburn, gets a tattoo with his kid at the press conference. It's got Auburn on it. And granted, there were other circumstances there. It's had a family member that was part of the Auburn football program, all that good stuff. I understand. But then flips back on National Signing Day, I think. And it just is like, I can't take that. So that is what has done me in terms of not believing the hearsay until it actually happens. Oh, and by the way, chances are something big will break here while we're live streaming because that's just what happens. Most of you that have been here for a while will know this. We got a good crowd assembling here, by the way. Thank y'all. If y'all are enjoying this, please make sure you smash that like button. 47 already. I'm getting so behind here. Brian was very professional. Good press conference. By the way, LB4AU, if this is who I think it is, thank you so much for becoming a HUC Network Booster Club member. Appreciate that. Eddie Owen, Tennessee's new head coach, is holding the release, hoping he can swing Brooks back to the Vols. Brooks says he is firm in wanting to leave. Well, he did sign with them. So put yourself in Tennessee's shoes. If you had a guy bound by contract, said he's supposed to be there, wouldn't you want to try? And he was that good. Wouldn't you want to try everything? I'm not saying I don't want him to come to Auburn. I don't really blame Tennessee, though. It'd be nice, though. Felix, it's a big question. So how did Auburn do on National Signing Day? It depends on who you ask. I think if you're an eternal optimist, you're like, this is a great foundation. And I like to lean that way. But if you're kind of the recruiting person that really loves all this stuff and really like is into all this and analyzes and spends way more time than I have to spend on it, and I'm not knocking people that do that. I used to be that way. Then this was probably not it's not that it was a bad day. It just wasn't. I think what I said at the beginning of the stream, it was left wanting. Let's see. I feel like if you're disappointed coming out of today, your expectations were way too high. And I'm good with having high expectations, but I think you also have to be based in reality. Here we go. Here it comes, guys. Emotions and context. There's the reality. You have to have both. They're both, valid, real, the emotions of the situation and the context. But somewhere in the middle, they meet to form the reality. And the reality is, it's a tough sell to come to Auburn right now. Don't forget Foster happened, then Evans. Lee. You're just like bringing up all the bad memories of that recruiting year. It was the Rashawn Evans and Reuben Foster, and I think there were other things. Like that was the year I think I said I'm done. I can't be on recruiting board. I'm a less happy person when I'm on those things. Yeah. George Pickens did it for me. I think we lucked out, guys. I get that he's a talented wide receiver. Does not seem to have a very high character, just based off what we're seeing. And I don't know the guy, but you can just kind of see how he performs himself on the field. James Butler says, "What's up, Auburn family? Well, I see Bama brought the #1 class again. I mean, what's new? It's easy to do that when you're bringing in Dodge Chargers to every recruit. How is that still going on? Like, seriously, has anyone even tried to look into that? I don't get it. War Productions. I don't pay much attention to smaller sports, but is Auburn good at swim and dive? I know they have 13 championships from the 90s to late 2000s. Yes, once our former head coach left, we brought in another guy who was kind of like part of his coaching tree, I believe. Had some pretty decent success. Always remained relevant. Kind of dipped at the end of his tenure. And then Gary Taylor, who I really like, has been very responsive to us on social media, which I really appreciate. The new head coach, I think we'll be heading back in that way. War Productions, let me just be honest with you, man. I know, and I always say this, football, basketball, baseball, especially football, they drive the engine of the car that is Auburn, but there are other parts of the car that you have to move it. And those are these other sports that should have your attention just as much because there's a lot going on with them, especially that equestrian team right above me right now. That's some, you want to talk about dominance. Alabama ain't even seen the dominance that this squad up here has had. They're about to have what should be a 4th national championship in a row. Coach Harsin is more engaging with the media up front and upbeat, excited for what the future brings. Sooner rather than later. It's more than just hype of a fresh start. Foundation is key. So I think he obviously is a lot different from Coach Malzahn. Whether that's good or bad, that's up to you. I tend to think that there are probably people that are just view that his style as more favorable because we're coming off of a firing of Coach Malzahn. Huge in recruiting, have good connections too, but I'm not disappointed. The Gus fire was needed for the program, yet screwed us in recruiting. I don't think it was needed. I understand it. I don't condone is not a right word. I don't support it, but I am supportive of who the coach is here now. And I guess one of the things I've been thinking about, and I've actually had some conversations with some people about this, is like with everything that's gone down since then. I'm asking, and I ask these people to cut it off right here, what we know right now. Don't look into the future based off what you know right now. Who's left? Who we didn't get? How was it worth it? A lot of those solid people that said it was worth it have changed their opinion, or at least stopped readily saying yes. Anyway. Tennessee also dropped their offer to Rock Thomas from Oxford yesterday. He's a 3-star and landed at Memphis. Auburn told his coach they did not have room for him. Old Rock, are we talking about old Rock Thomas from who was here once before? Rasheen Thomas? I thought he had moved on since then, even from where he was. Is Auburn good at golf? I try to get into it. So women's and men's have been really pretty decent as of late. We didn't get to see them a whole lot last year because of COVID-19. But the men, I think, made it to, an individual made it to like the finals, and I think the team for women's made it to like the top 4, the final round or something like that. So yes, Rock Taylor. See that? There we go. That's who you meant. Thomas in the CFL. I knew there was a little bit of confusion happening there. I read the story about the Oxford kid. I'll be rooting for him. That was messed up. Definitely proves college football is a business. I actually don't know that story, so yeah. I know 53 people. It's a great crowd here so far. I've just seen the signings for today. I feel optimistic, and I think you should. I think anytime you get new blood into the program, it's always a good thing, no matter if they've got a 3-star in front of them or a 5-star. Anytime you have somebody come in new, fresh, it provides depth, provides a new thing. So there should be optimism with it. Now, I understand some people's lack of enthusiasm for this, but you know, well, to that I say some people just can't be helped. I'm okay with the recruiting. Ooh, let me back up here. With the recruiting class 2022, it's really important to not take a dip in talent compared to other programs. Plus, I feel that we will get Dylan Brooks and some transfers to bandage this class. So how big of a bandage, though? That's the thing. I'm not a fan of Band-Aids. I'd rather treat the disease and not put a Band-Aid on it. Trying to think about how to approach this here, because I've already kind of hashed this subject before. I think everyone needs to prepare themselves for a dip. I really think that, and I don't know how to phrase that any other way. I think you need to prepare yourselves for a bit of a dip for a while. And let me pull up the list of guys here in a second. We talk about a few of them. How many people are aware that Auburn has a fishing team? Now, it's not like an NCAA sanction, but yes, we've got that. We've got a lacrosse team. We've got they're all club things. We've got an ultimate frisbee team. There's all kinds of stuff, and they were a national championship winner. Jarrell Stinson, I don't see him on the list, so I'll have to go look and see what's going on there. Me realizing Demetrius Davis is the same height as Stetson Bennett. Trevin Wallace was painful, man. Yeah, I think Jihan. I think that one happened, that would have turned this day around for a lot of people. And I think everybody who's been realistic had tried to say to themselves, okay, this is not going to be the best signing day in the world in terms of what we're used to, but we might swing something. And as of this moment, that hasn't necessarily happened, in my opinion. I don't know if anybody else disagrees with that. So let me ask the room, social media and here on the live stream, was there anything that you were surprised by? Was there a flip that you were shocked by? Anything like that? Because there was the flip from South Alabama. I'll talk about him in just a second. I don't really count that as a surprise. It's not hard for Auburn to flip someone from South Alabama if they want them. Hello, this is Auburn University. Would you like to come play for us over the South Alabama Jaguars? Sign me up. I'll be there tomorrow. T. Will is the reason Trevin. Well, yeah, and so, but you can't keep a coach just to keep a player. And I would have said the same thing for the Cadillac Williams Tank Bigsby thing. A lot of people think that's the main reason that he stayed around, or that he was kept on staff, the only returning staff member. It might have been, but you can't make decisions like that. Do you think Coach Harsin would pass up 5-star recruits that might be toxic in the locker room? I hope so. I absolutely hope so. I don't care how many stars, but if you are going, George Pickens is a perfect example. Again, I don't know George Pickens personally. All I have to go off of is how I see him interact on social media, how I see him on the field. And what I see is not a good thing. I'm glad we didn't get that 5-star. We lucked out, in my opinion. I was surprised that we didn't sign more people, to be honest with you. Yehan, I get that. I think a lot of people were. I've been trying to, this is not I told you so statement, but I've been trying to warn people. Don't think signing day is building up to what you think it's going to be. It went at par for what I thought was going to happen. Simply who was scheduled to sign, I think, with the one flip from South Alabama. But there's still more slots open. And there's a lot of you have been wanting transfers. You're probably going to get them now, because I don't think Auburn was able to flip as many people as they were hoping to do. Like the defensive line, hiring Eason is young and great and quick assembly to the staff. Look for him to do big things in the defensive line, the elect says. By the way, I just saw you subscribed, my friend. Thank you so much for doing that. Appreciate that. I think it's it was a good hire for how quickly it had to happen. So happy to have him on board. Nothing surprised me too much. Joe says, I believe Gus would have grabbed more people. And I know that's probably going to stir some people up. So let me just say this about this. Obviously, you know that I'm a big Gus Malzahn fan. Had Gus not left, yes, there would have been a lot more stability within the program, and there would have been an opportunity to flip some more things. It's a lot easier to sell yourself as a stable program, even if you had a down year, as opposed to a completely new one where your staff is 99% turned over, Cadillac being the exception. So, yes, I do think that this would have been a much better signing day had Coach Malzahn been here in terms of stars, rankings, all that stuff. But that's not what the people wanted. It's what I wanted, but it's not what everybody, the collective of the Auburn fan base wanted. Who likes canceling locker room? No one. Zero surprises, but as we mentioned the last couple of years, the surprises have been nightmares. Lee is like triggered some things in me tonight. Stand up on Twitter says I agree. I'm not sure what you're agreeing to, but with the whole, just thinking about the Rashawn Evans, the Reuben Foster situation. What's the guy who just went to from Alabama last year, defensive line? Quinnen Williams. Did y'all realize that he was a 3-star when he came to Auburn? Or he was committed to Auburn and then flipped and suddenly became a 5-star. Shocker. Stars mean nothing. I agree, Darius. I absolutely agree. I think people get caught up in 5-star ratings. It sounds good to have them on your team, but most players that become stars in the college are typically not a 5-star player. So I think somebody actually did a graphic recently, this past week or something, with the Super Bowl coming up soon, this weekend, days away, of how the stars breakdowns. And it was like, you saw a couple in there, but most of them are 3 stars or less. Stars don't matter, my friends. They don't. It matters what you do with those stars. And surprisingly, the people who seem to have more coming out of high school tend, proportion-wise, to do less with them. Now, of course, to be fair, there's usually more 3 stars than there are 5 and 4 stars. So it's kind of, that proportions are kind of in their favor for the 3 stars. But anyway. Harsin is definitely going after the disciplined guys. Just look at the way that he carries himself. Yeah, I think, I think most coaches carry themselves that way. And I would hope that that's going to reflect in the guys that he brings in here. Do you think that 5-star recruits are more likely to be toxic to the team? No, I don't necessarily mean that. I think that you can probably see a correlation there because there's fewer of them. And then every bad case that happens as a 5-star kind of paints the pool, so to speak. We are the smart team. Rise Life, what's going on, my man? Good to see you here. I don't think that signing day has anything to do with Harsin's staff. It had to do with firing our head coach 2 days before the first signing day. Yeah. No, so I think here's a great, Lee, that's a great point. Let me say this. I hope what people are not taking away from this is that Coach Harsin didn't do the best that he could and that this was a failure. It's a miracle that he was able to bring some people in at this point and have a class, have 17 signings, I think is what we're at this point. The fact that he kept Lee Hunter is a huge thing in and of itself. So, yeah, the recruiting lack thereof is a result of that situation. Yes, I agree with you. Didn't even get a running back. Well, you don't necessarily need a running back except for depth because you've got your running back in Tank Bigsby. So right now, transfer portal is probably where you're going to go. And a lot of people are wanting this Dylan Brooks kid. I'd sign him up. I'll believe it when I see it. Stars do mean something, but they're not everything. They often indicate talent, but not character. And I don't even think they indicate talent as well. To some degree, they do. Obviously, I mean, these analysts aren't going out there and just making things up. Cam Newton was a 5-star for a reason because he had the talent. So yes, in some level, stars mean something. They don't mean as much. When I say they don't mean anything, they don't mean exactly what people think they Rise, yes, that is the understatement of the year. We don't need just offensive linemen. We've got to fix the offensive line. Period. And it starts with recruiting. Hopefully, let me pull his name up. Actually, I've got it listed here. Let me make sure I've got everybody correct. So just bear with me as I scroll up and down here, trying to find where he went. There he goes, Colby Smith. So he's a 3-star offensive tackle. We haven't had one in quite some time that signed. We've had people commit but not sign. 6'7", 315 pounds, just a big overall dude. So that's honestly probably my highlight of the class, the fact that we were able to pull him in. Is this guy live or is this a recorded stream? This is live right now. That's why I'm interacting with the people here. Well, I guess if you're watching this on the replay, which you're not asking this question right now, then you will, then you'll figure that out. It should say live at the top or somewhere if you're watching. Not surprised. Harsin had an uphill battle to get recruits without relationships with his family's coaches. He mentioned that today. Yehan says, I think I'm happy with that Gus left at this point. I think Harsin gives us a far higher ceiling. We just need to be patient. But I guess the question is, why weren't you willing to be patient for Gus? We don't have to go down that rabbit hole again, but people are willing to give a new head coach more leeway, and they should. Because, as I've said, I approach this from the standpoint of that a coach should be given 4 to 5 years to prove that they can maintain, not have 1 or 2 good seasons, but maintain a certain level of success. So I hope that's what we give him at the very least. Does UGA get all leftover 5-star recruits? It kind of seems like it, right? It's just like Nick Saban decides, hey, I want these many 5-stars, and then it kind of rolls downhill. It's always funny when you see the thumbs down come in. It's usually after I talk about Gus Malzahn. It tells you how much people will just hate him for some reason. It's ridiculous. Where am I at on this? I'm trying to get back to all the different comments here. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to move forward just a little bit because we are way behind. Hopefully the entire Alabama O-line transfers to Auburn. It'd be nice, right? Because they're doing it right over there, and there's no shame in that. Quinnen Williams, yeah, so here's a great example right here. Stereotypical Auburn fan said this: if we had Marlon Davidson, Derek Brown, and Quinnen Williams together at the same time, and he had not flipped to Alabama, whoo lordy. There wouldn't have been an offensive line in the entire nation that could have stood up to that attack. See, Lee, so here's what happened is you punched me in the gut by the whole Reuben Foster and then Rashaan Evans thing, and I had to return it to you. So there you go. Oh, wow, that actually, I don't know why that shrunk there. The NFL does not care about star rating. They absolutely do not. Absolutely do not. That's why I say they don't matter one bit. It matters what you do with the stars, not what your stars were. Development is key, regardless of stars, and Harsin gets that. Here's the thing. Do you think we're going to get a 5-star in this recruiting class? No. But we may have a 5-star already signed. Right? Maybe not in what the analysts think, but in who shows up on the field, who produces, who gets better as their time here. So, yeah. We might have a 5-star already. We might bring in a 3-star who becomes a 5-star. Don't get so focused on the stars. I know that's like the uncool thing to say and the not so fun thing to say on National Signing Day, but I'm saying it. Imagine if Darius Slayton didn't declare for the draft. We can imagine a lot of those scenarios. And I know I'm skipping over some of y'all's comments, but when we have a busy show like this, sometimes I just have to keep going to keep up. Thank y'all so much for hitting the like button if you're enjoying this, by the way. A bunch of y'all doing that. We appreciate it. Juwan Gaston was a very good pull for Coach Harden and the staff. Now, he was the one that was the flip, correct? Am I right on this one? I'm trying to back way up here to see if this was the flip or not. Juwan Gaston, safety. No, he was between South Carolina and Auburn. Decided to join Derek Mason over here. So we got another safety, 187 pounds, 5'11". So smaller on the side safety, but got time to build and grow into that role. Seth versus plus Darius plus Flash would have been deadly. They're all gone now. Do you think wealth plays a bigger part in stars? Interesting. In terms of than talent? No, I don't think so, Joe. I'm I don't, maybe I'm not understanding the question, but no, I don't think. I guess anybody can pay for for anything in this world, pretty much. I'm sure that there's a recruiting analyst out there that would take money to raise a star ranking up a little bit. So maybe, I don't know, could be, but I don't see it. Having Devin Barrett back will be low key kind of nice. Just depth at running back will be nice. Let's see here. I feel like recruiting websites are biased over for the bigger schools, I think is what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I think that they have a tendency to swing that way. But it's easy to do that right now. Stan says, I read the yesterday that the long snapper is going to be a preferred walk-on. Is that due to current personnel? Any chance that he gets an immediate scholarship? So I think that's a good question, because I think it breaks down a couple of different ways and kind of covers a little different. So 17, I think, is what we're at right now. Coach Harsin says we're not done. A typical signing class signs about 25, give or take, if you've got extra room or stuff like that. What could happen, and and I want to cover this maybe on a different stream after we have a time to sit on this, the look ahead to the next class. What it could mean is there's a lot of room for Auburn to do some big things in next year's class or the next year's. So in terms of your question, will he get an immediate scholarship? I would bet that he doesn't get an immediate scholarship, but you see a lot of times, especially walk-ons or preferred walk-ons, they end up getting them as a season goes along, as they get further in their time there, when they've kind of earned it, for lack of a better term. I wouldn't expect it, but with plenty of scholarships to go around at this point, wouldn't shock me if he did. Great question, though, Stan. 67 now. Thank y'all so much. Y'all are doing a great job getting this shared out. If Wilfred manages to get us a proper O-line, I think we collectively as a fan base need to buy the Teddy Bear. Yeah, if Wilfred fixes the problem that Herb Hand started, then he is by far going to be my favorite coach at this point. He's got a tall task ahead of him. Yes, with Jawan Gaston, he seems to be a very just kind of physical guy. I think that's what Coach Harsin said in his press conference about him. So I like that. I like a 3-star with a chip on his shoulder, because even though stars don't mean anything, it means something to the recruit, right? That I was looked over. And so when I get my opportunity, not only am I going to prove it to my player or my fellow players and my teammates, I'm going to prove it to my coaches, my fans. I'm going to prove it to everyone else who passed on me. Everyone else in the Southeastern Conference and the rest of NCAA. You shouldn't have passed on Jawan Gaston. I love it. Sawyer Pate might get a scholarship. Yep. So the elect says, I'd rather take a dip in recruiting to clean house. Everything will fall in place. To add to your point of star ranking, development will show on the field and off. This collision will make bang. The long snapper Vaccarella did not need a scholarship, hence the preferred walk. Yeah, so you don't see many long snappers get scholarships to start off with, but he could get one down the road. Lee Hunter is going to be out. New running back? I'm not understanding Rise Life. I'm just happy that we kept Lee Hunter at this point. Oh, wow. Y'all are doing some great comments here. Patient for Gus. He was there 8 years. And it could have been a lot more if we won't go down that rabbit hole, because we can do that another day, Lee. To those that think stars ratings are important, the best receiver in the NFL this season has a 2-star in high school. Yeah, they're important to a small degree, but not on the bigger scale. Let's see. If we go 9-3, losing to Georgia, Texas A&M, Alabama, would that be a disappointment? I truly believe we will go 9-3. I predicted that we go 8-5 with a bowl win. So I'm predicting the 7. Well, no. I changed that because we went through the schedule and I upped that. I said 8-4 regular season, and I will reserving judgment on that bowl game, win or not yet, because that gets you into theoretically a better bowl game, which will be tougher. So based off the schedule that I saw, I went up from a 7-win regular season to an 8-win regular season. I feel like Vaccarella being a 6-star is valid. It makes sense how the best kicker in a nation is a 3-star when you don't get recorded as the same as the other skill positions. Yeah, that's a discrepancy in recruiting. Like, I get it that it's such a unique situation that you don't want to really make them a 5-star, but if it's clearly the best and you're supposed to be rating the best, why are you faulting them differently? I don't know. Harsin came from the Bama of the G5. I'm not understanding that one. Very happy for Colby. I am as well. Happy to have him on the team. Lee says, heard an interesting stat today. Tom Brady was a better chance of making a Super Bowl at like 47% than Steph Curry has to make a 3-point shot at 44%. Just a fun fact. Interesting, not related to anything except that we missed the Super Bowl. But it's kind of weird, isn't it? Look, I despise Tom Brady, but I can't deny the man's greatness. I can't. I mean, like, there's no argument. He's the best in terms of quarterbacks. I don't like him. I can't deny it. Kansas had a top 50 class. Oh, Les Miles pulling out the miracles, right? Isn't that funny? First time since 2014. Florida took advantage of the transfer portal. We need to do the same, especially when there's a needed O-line, regardless of talent will come. Staff did well after the reset. So you will see them go into the transfer portal more now. I think probably they were reserved on that as much as they could be to see who they could potentially pull in. Maybe there's some still left out there that hadn't signed, but probably now you'll see that. If we go 9-3, I'd give that an A, but I don't want to get blown out by Georgia and Bama again. One of those might happen. I don't think both will happen next year. That's my hope. And when I say blow, I'm not saying we win. They're just Auburn plays better at home, which isn't an obvious statement, but they both Georgia, well, really Bama has a hard time beating Auburn in Jordan-Hare Stadium. Got basketball in the brain right now. The top talent will come in Harsin's next true class. Without question, transfer will be targeted heavily to finish this class, and it has to be at this point. And that's why we'll start looking ahead to the next one in the next couple of streams. And I don't know. I think what we'll probably do is look at the class as a whole, maybe in the next live stream. So it won't be tomorrow, but maybe on Friday, and then maybe Saturday we'll look ahead if some other big news hasn't dropped since then. That's what I think would be fun to do, is kind of look ahead and say, who's already there, who we need to focus on, and maybe that can kind of get us. I know a lot of you who have been here as part of the live stream who wanted to talk more recruiting, and I told you we were going to get to that, and I feel like we can kind of get there together on that point and kind of talk through some of these things. Gaston and Smith are 4 stars. Now Gaston is right here listed on, and I'm reading off of AL.com. He's listed as a 3-star. So here's the other thing that I hate about recruiting. I hate it, but I love it at the same time, is that all the rankings are different. Nobody agrees on it. My rating system is better than your rating system. So yes, they are 4 stars in one system's mind, but not in the other. So you don't really know what to think. I tend to always lean on the side that's the lowest, just out of sheer plain devil's advocate. I believe we will win the national championship. When, though, Imani? That's the question. That is the big question. False alarm. Kansas already lost its top 50 class. Now they are number 52, but Vandy took their place at 50. See, folks, I understand that you're maybe a little bit underwhelmed by signing day today for Auburn, but it could always be worse. Not only could you be bumped out of the top 50, but you could be bumped out of the top 50 by Vanderbilt. It could always be worse, right? It could. Dawson looks like a 5-star. I was actually surprised looking at his speed and juking. I've heard a lot of good things about the Dawson kid. And he has a chance to prove that his ranking was low, and I will love it. Is Big Cat and Tut still on the team? My understanding is Big Cat, no. Tut is not part of the team, but there were the rumors that he was thinking about coming back. Doubt it at this point. I don't know that Coach Harsin really wants to deal with that at this point. Thank you, Michael, clarifying that. He's at Tennessee. Imani says the upcoming season we will win the national championship. Shoot your shot, my man. You shoot your shot. And if you're right, we will come back on this show and say Imani Smoot was right. I hope. It ain't going to happen, though. Georgia and LSU gets talent and can't even compete with the Tide. Give your analysis if Harsin could bank on recruiting classes as they have. Give your analysis if Harsin could bank on recruiting classes as they have. So I'm understanding that right. You're making the statement that the recruiting hype hasn't worked out for Georgia and LSU the way it has Bama, so it's kind of it's overappreciated by maybe some programs. I would agree with that. I think Tommy Tuberville is the best example of that. Turned Auburn into a decent program again in the late 90s and most of the 2000s by turning 3 stars into 5 stars. So my analysis of Georgia and LSU is that they probably do a little bit of shady stuff, at least during the Gus Malzahn. And I say the Gus Malzahn era because I'm only comparing during this time because I can't really vouch for Gene Chizik time. We kind of know what happened there, but the whole Tommy Tuberville time as well. Georgia and LSU do well because of their recruiting tactics. Auburn did not use those recruiting tactics. Will they return? I don't know. I hope not. Bold take, Zaxby's is greater than KFC. You win the tonight stream because that is true, Darius. I think he knows that's what I wanted to hear, though. 12 SEC teams are in the top 30. Absolutely insane. 13 in the top 50. Then there's South Carolina in the 80s. Oh, poor South Carolina. It could always be worse, right? Always be worse. Devin, we're almost done here, my man, but I appreciate you stopping. Lee Hunter will be a 5-star. A lot of recruiting services will go back and re-rank people after the fact, and I hope they do continue to do that because I like those type of analysis to see, and it's kind of them admitting, hey, we were either right or we were wrong about these things. I think it's a good thing for them to do, to admit some of that. All right, we're going to say goodbye to the social media people. We had a few of you pop in and ask questions. Thank y'all so much for being here. All right, YouTube folks, you know the drill. Last few segments here. I want you guys to get in your not last minute. I see a few more questions and comments, and we'll kind of round that out tonight. Let me share a few things, as we always do with you. If you want to help support the content that we do here, the first thing you can do is by listening to the podcast. I will share the link to Apple Podcasts where you can get all of our different shows on there as well. Just dropped an Inside the Jungle show that you might want to check it out if you haven't. But if you want to help support the content that we do here, you can do that several different ways. They're listed there. Patreon at patreon.com/E2C Network is our booster club, where you can sign up for as little as $1 a month. Get yourself some perks and help make the content. Had a couple of our booster club members show up in here today. Thank y'all so much for your support. It really means the world to us for that you're doing that. And also, the way you can help support us here on this YouTube channel specifically is by subscribing and hitting that notification bell. We do these live streams on a random basis when I have the ability to do them. So if you want to be here when we're live, that's the best thing. Subscribe and notification bell marked to all. That way you'll know. And if you enjoyed the content today, please do make sure you smash that like button. It does help the stream out. All right, let me back up here and see what you guys are saying. Rodney just tuning in. We got a lot of people tuning in here late. And I was struggling with what time to actually go live. And I was like, if I don't do it now, it's going to get later. And I feel like some other media people would be doing some of these similar things. And so I didn't want to compete. So that's kind of why we did this at this point. I think this is a great thing to do right here. Darius says, I give National Signing Day a B+. So here's what I'd like everybody to do. not the recruiting class as a whole. I just want to gauge the temperature of the room. What's your grade for National Signing Day for Auburn? This one, the recruits that came in today. What's your grade? And it doesn't have to be necessarily a reflection of them as individuals, but just your feeling about it. How are you, if you had to grade it? Because I think that's a great thing that Darius did there. B plus for him. I'm going to say B minus. I wanted to say C plus, but I'm going to stick with a B minus. Because I don't feel it's fair for me to rank that a class that was thrown together at the last second that low. South Carolina has 1 4-star. It could always be worse. I really get tired of punting, especially on 4th and 1, but it's kind of essential to punt on 4th and 1, especially if the situation calls for it. And you got to have an offensive line to get you that 1 yard too, which we don't. Who was the basketball player that committed to us? Did that just happen? I'm not sure. You have to. If you're talking about Trey Alexander, who's just signed, I'm not sure who you're talking about. Can Harsin convince the team to play with their hair on fire? I mean, he seems like a little fired up guy. I'm sure he can. Lee Hunter comparison of 24/7 is the Montravius Adams. So he does feel like this. He's definitely the centerpiece. So far of the class. Him and I would say the 6'7" offensive tackle we just picked up are probably the centerpieces. They will form the foundation for the offensive and defensive lines going forward. All right, we got grades coming in. B plus from Cooper. A from James. Chris Ray says C plus. A, B minus. B. Got a B. B. B plus. Lots of grades. I'll come back to some of these grades, but I just wanted to kind of get through some of them real quick. Let's see here. Watch 2005 AU Georgia game. Not sure where Brandon Cox was rated, but he was the most underrated quarterback we probably ever had. Nick Marshall was the most underrated quarterback we ever had. I dare you to come at me. I'm obviously being funny when I say that, but I dare you. Nick Marshall is the most underappreciated, especially quarterback that we've ever had. But Brandon Cox, I think he was a very high 4-star. It depended on the recruiting. You can go back if you were interested in finding out, Larry. You can go back on some of these recruiting services, and they'll go way back to the 2001 era. Let's see. Oh yeah, Trey. Yeah, he was a commit, and I think he believed he's signed now. Kind of class South Carolina usually gets. They don't usually do that bad though, Chris Ray. They don't. This is bad for them. If the recruits believe in their coach and the program, they will do well. Fair statement there. I don't have any problems with that. Nick Marshall, 100%. I guess agreeing with me on that one. Okay, I have to know why don't you like Tom? If you're asking about Tom Brady, just don't like him. It's as simple as that. I don't know. Just don't like him. I think he probably, he's not what I would call in terms of his past, at least, a quality individual. And I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal as a quality individual, but I have standards that I would like people to meet, and I wouldn't put him there. He could have changed in his life. Seems to have mellowed out a little bit since he's been there. I think it's that coupled with he had kind of an arrogance to him, but he's earned it. I can't. There we go. And James said arrogant. Yes, that's probably why. Nick Marshall is now a safety in the CFL. It is, but that doesn't change that he is the most underappreciated and underrated quarterback we've ever had. Brandon Cox, I think, is up there as well, but Nick Marshall definitely. He shot me down. I have to agree with Nick Marshall. Let's see. Okay. All right. Last minute comments and questions here. Like I said, we won't do a stream tomorrow. Just won't have the time to, even if big news breaks. But we'll do one Friday, probably morning. Normally that's right before lunchtime, right around that time. So I hope that you can join us for this again. You've had a great stream tonight. Everybody sharing their feelings about National Signing Day. I know it wasn't the most exciting thing in the world, but I hope that you'll find some positive things to go forward with that. Like him and some ass if they think he needs to work on personality. Talking about me or Tom Brady? We will get killed in football next year, but hey, the new center will bring the players back. We won't get killed. We will have some struggles, as should be expected, but we will. It'll be all right. It always is. This is the Auburn way. We go down for a little bit and we come back up. And I think the sooner that everybody accepts that, the better it'll be. I know that probably just made so many people mad with that statement, but hey, it's just the way it is right now. Harsin, I believe Harsin will surprise college football in season 1. I just got the feeling of something special. The team will feed off it. And hey, the elect, I hope you're right, man. I love the good vibes coming off that, but we'll see. There's a lot to overcome. A lot more than in 2013 and a lot more than in 2009, and we will see. All right, guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in today. And on your way out, if you enjoyed the stream, smash that like button, and I hope to see many of you here for future live streams. Subscribe and hit that notification bell. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.